represents the feed where the reels unwind. Off the real podcast, digging deep in the grind. 80 flicks, low cash, big dreams in the frame. No blockbuster hype, just the realest in the game. Reviews so sharp, we cut through the noise.
Once again, the Twisted Childhood universe has reared its head. If you're not familiar with this, we'll give you the quick rundown. Winnie the Pooh IP came into the public domain and they quickly ran, casted some girls, ran out to the woods. Don't really believe they ever had a script for that first movie. They just had an idea, and fair play to them, they made a movie. They made a movie for next to nothing and it made all of the money. Essentially, for my money, a bit of a cash grab. They made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. They went a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder. They retconned a whole bunch of things from the first movie as if the first movie never actually happened, but it did happen. But it was like within this movie, it's a movie within the movie. It kind of happened, it maybe didn't happen, but it did happen. Much better film. I will also say though, it's a very, very low bar to try and cross. But cross it they did. Then they decided, let's do Peter Pan now. Let's do Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmares, and holy shit, much better movie. Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare is actually a really good flick. Not just for this universe, it's a good flick. And I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No. Is it janky as shit? Yes, in certain places it absolutely is. So here we are now with the latest entry to the Poohniverse, as they're calling it. I really wish they would not call it that, but that's what they're calling it. The Poohvengers are coming to town, whatever we're going to be doing with all of that. This entry is Bambi The Reckoning, and I'm going to talk about it because my name is Kevin Halden and this is Nerdly Presents Off the Reel, the Off the Reel review of Bambi The Reckoning. You can go over to nerdly.co.uk and you can see what everybody else is saying over there. Hopefully other people will watch this movie, review this movie, and then you get more of an idea of what people are really thinking. And I'll go with the IMDb synopsis to kick us off. After a mother and son get in a car wreck, they soon become hunted by Bambi, a mutated, grief-stricken deer on a deadly rampage, seeking revenge for the death of his mother. So, right, okay, let's do this. As with the other Winnie the Pooh movies and the Peter Pan movie, we do open with a really cool animated sort of introduction. Little bit 2D, little bit pencil drawn. I quite like this. And what we come to find out is that yes, Bambi has lost his mum. And then over the years, he's found himself a dear friend, or a dear lady friend, called Feline. And they have a child, they have a fawn. And then Feline is accidentally murdered or unpurposely murdered, we're not 100% sure. So he's now dealing with the death of his mum and now the death of his love. And in the meantime, he's been drinking from this stream, and we're kind of told that this stream has got like toxic stuff in it, sludgy stuff in it, like Secret World of Alex Mack kind of stuff. And it's really messing with Bambi and turns him into this mutated, horrific zombie deer beast. Then we kind of cut into the movie proper and we meet a mother and her son who are getting into a taxi to go away to this place where supposedly the son's dad is going to be. On their way there, the taxi is attacked by Bambi, and Bambi just goes on a little bit of a killing spree and kills the taxi driver, and then they have to do a runner, and they're running through the woods. They do happen upon the house, which is where her husband's brothers are, her husband's gran is, all these people are in this house, and that's what's going to help us get the death kill up. At the same time, or around about the same time, there's these three hunters going out into the woods. They have got Thorn, they've kidnapped him, and they want to bring out Bambi so they can kill Bambi. Not really 100% certain as to why they're doing it. It feels like, yes, there's a bit of a cleanup mission going on. They may be fucked up by putting all the toxic waste in the river, and it's kind of their fault that Bambi's now a mutated hellbeast. So maybe that's why they're doing it. I think that's kind of why they're doing it. That's the impression I got from the movie. There's not a massive great deal all else to say other than, yes, Bambi comes across the house. All of the people get spread out of the house. Bambi's going to try and kill all of them. He's also going to try and kill all of the hunters. And basically, anybody that comes his way, he's not really that precious. He's going to kill everyone. That's the movie. That is the movie on the whole. So let's talk about the cast and crew. Truthfully speaking, a lot of these people I don't really know. Yes, they have done plenty of other movies and there are lots of credits between this cast, but apart from Nicola Wright, there's not many of them I know. And Nicola Wright plays Mary, sort of the grandmother, and she's having these really weird visions throughout the movie that are kind of like prophecies of what's going to happen. It's never really truly explained as to why, other than she's just a bit of a crazy old lady who lives out in the woods. Now, Nicola Wright has got a hell of a cast list. She's got like 130 odd credits to her name. A lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff, but a lot of stuff nonetheless. I do also believe that she was in Peter Pan. I do also believe that she was in Winnie the Pooh as well. I don't really know how that connects, because I don't think she's playing the same character. Maybe she's just going to be the Stan Lee of this Winnie the Pooh universe. I don't know. I was most intrigued by her character and her relationship with Bambi. That was the most intriguing thing about the movie, but as this movie does with a lot of plot points, it opens it up, it lets you know that it's there, and then doesn't really talk about it for the rest of the film. It just kind of forgets that it's there. The mum in the movie is Roxanne Mckee. I didn't mind Roxanne Mckee as the mother. I did quite like her. She doesn't quite have that Wendy Darling appeal from the Peter Pan movie, but I did like what she was doing. I bought the chemistry between her and the boy, and I liked them as a mother and son. A highlight of the movie for me is Samira Mighty as Harriet, and that's because she gets literally my favourite death of the whole movie. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but we get this little kind of almost Jurassic Park, in the kitchen moment, and then her death just, it sells the movie for me. I will say that though, the deaths in this movie, there are some inventive deaths, and some of them are cool, some of them are really cool. But literally cast-wise, everybody is kind of just there for the body count. They are there to bring in the numbers. There's nobody really doing anything wrong, so I can't say that there's anybody bad in this movie. We see a lot of Bambi. This is a CGI heavy Bambi. I don't know if they did any practical effects. I'd be very interested to know if they did do practical effects. Although the whole movie is at night, it's all in the dark, so don't get me wrong, you're not going to be seeing a hell of a lot of Bambi. And when you do get to see him in the light, I will say he does look pretty good. The CGI on this film and the design of Bambi kind of works. Kind of does what it's supposed to do. But as I was saying, when you have those wide shots, when you're kind of quite far back, his front legs look really awkward. I've not looked at a deer in a long time, but his front legs are just these really awkward legs. And then when he starts running, I don't see how physically they work. They looked weird and jarring, and I wasn't there for that. But for the most part, this thing looks pretty awesome. And scale-wise, like, he is huge. Bambi is massive. When he's up against the RV, he's huge. When he's up against the taxi, he's huge. When he's up against any sort of vehicle or standing outside the house, he looks huge. And I don't think at any point did I ever think to myself, wow, they got the scale of this thing wrong. Like, you know how sometimes it can look massive, but then other times it'll look really small against something. No point did I ever think that with the design of this creature. I want to talk about Dan Allen, director Dan Allen. Now, one thing I would love to know as well, there's a lot of things that I'd love to know about this movie, is at what point they locked in the story for this movie. Because there is zero mention of the Pooniverse or anything like that. Unless I completely missed references, I don't think we get references to anything. None of these characters really tie into anybody apart from Nicola Wright, who's appearing in all these movies. I'd love to know when they locked this in, or if this was always going to be a completely standalone Bambi movie that doesn't have anything to do with anything, but then when they get to the big team-up movie, they'll bring him in. But as directors go, and as this director goes, I think Dan Allen has actually done a really good job. This is a creature feature. It's a monster movie. That's what Bambi is. He's a monster movie. And I kind of love that, because it means we're getting different tones to different movies. So I have to applaud Dan Allen on that. And an extension to that, I have to applaud Jagged Edge, because they are clearly happy to let people come in, play in their sandpit, and do what they kind of want to do. I imagine there are things, there's like a spider's web of things where it's like, right, you have to do this, you have to do that, we need to be going here, we need to be going there. I hope to Christ they have some sort of system like that. But to then let Dan Allen come in on this movie, Bambi, and kind of just let him run with it, I am totally down for that. One thing that I wasn't overly keen on, yes, we get some really cool deaths. We get some wonderful, wonderfully creative deaths, considering you're dealing with a massive deer here. There's only so much you can do with antlers and hooves. However, the kill count, I believe, makes it past the double digit. But there's quite a lot of deaths that aren't actually caused by Bambi. And this is your main thing in the movie. He is your creature, he's your monster, he's your killer. There's not a lot of deaths done by him. His deaths are great, and the other deaths are great, but there's a lot of like human on human violence or other animal on human violence. And I'll quickly talk about that in my final rating because I love that. So that is a little bit of a nitpick. For your big bad movie with Bambi being the big bad, he doesn't really kill a hell a lot of people. I was going to do this in my final rating, but I'm going to talk about it now. There is another creature in this movie. There is another killer element in this movie. I never watched the trailer, so I was not expecting this. I don't know if they're in the trailer. I don't know if there's that whole thing there. But Bambi's friend Thumper makes an appearance in this movie, and I loved it. There's this whole scene where there's this asshole kid who's being chased by Bambi, and he kind of like running away and everything like that, and then he falls into a pile of shit. And in effort to get Bambi to not acknowledge that he's there, he hides himself in the shit again. Puts himself face down in the shit, and then Bambi sort of walks over, doesn't really see him. The boy gets up and he's walking through the woods, and he comes across Thumper. And the rabbit kind of like bounces over to him as if to say hello, and the boy just, punts Thumper like, I'm assuming that one was Thumper, but he like punts it like a good 20 yards. And what a little dick, by the way. What a dick. And I feel like this movie's trying to say something about animal cruelty when that happens. Because then the next thing you know, there's a couple Thumpers turning up and they ain't happy. Not going to say too much more else, but I think you can glean from what I've just said a little bit of what went on there. Hugely popular addition to the movie for me. I really did like that because I was wondering how we were going to do this with just Bambi. So I'm going to get into my final Nerdly Presents Off the Reel review rating, and honestly, I had a ton of fun with this movie. It's not amazing, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's amazing, but I had so much fun with this movie. It was balls to the wall, it was batshit crazy, it was mental. Bambi looked cool at times. Not all the time, but I think having it set at night and only ever showing Bambi in the dark, yep, absolutely the right way to go. It hides a multitude of sins. The story is threadbare, and when they do try and throw some story in there, they kind of just forget about it by the next scene, which is totally fine. I think the movie just doesn't want to breathe for too long, I think, because it is only 75 minutes long, and I actually kind of felt that was perfect. I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5. It's maybe not as high as you may have been expecting, but let's be honest, this isn't going to be challenging for any Oscars anytime soon. The acting, although very serviceable and very decent, is what it is. The action is pretty good. There are some really cool deaths, but they are what they are. We do get a massive explosion in this movie. That really took me by surprise because they blew shit up but didn't like show us everything. The thing explodes, we pull away miles off from it, and it's just there in the background. I kind of rated it. It does tell us at the end of this movie, in the end of the credits, that Bambi will be back. I'm not entirely sure how Bambi will be back. No spoilers for the end of this movie, but there is a bit of a poignant, quite sad ending in a way. But yeah, apparently Bambi's coming back, so the Pooniverse will continue. For me, this movie is a 3.5 out of 5. Better than Winnie the Pooh 1. I'd actually say I enjoyed this much more than Winnie the Pooh 2. Not as good as Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmares, I would say. But I am enjoying what they're doing a little bit more now. I didn't like that first movie. And then Peter Pan, I just rated that movie. I rated that movie a lot. This movie, I'm not going to say that I rate it a lot. I'll watch it maybe one other time, probably with a group of friends, so we can have a laugh and a joke with it and enjoy what we're watching, just shutting our brains off. But I do think you should absolutely check this movie out. And if the Twisted Childhood universe has been your thing so far, you will absolutely adore this movie. It's so much fun, it's so stupid, and it's so bad that it's actually really good. is probably the nicest thing I can say about the movie. And that is a compliment, by the way. Have you seen the movie? What did you think of the movie? Please do let me know. Hit me in the comments down below. That is where I'll continue the conversation with you. We can talk about what you liked, what you didn't like, talk about where I was wrong, where I was right, all that good stuff. In the meantime, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and ding that notification bell. It will let you know whenever I drop a brand new interview, review, or anything else that ends in ooh. Honestly, I think these guys might actually be onto something, and they're winning me over with this universe. They're starting to win me over with it. You got a couple more movies in the pipeline from what I can tell. I know there's a Winnie Pooh 3 coming. We'll probably get a Peter Pan 2 because that did really well. Bambi 2, I'm okay with that. Let's see what the Poon Avengers are going to be like, and let's just carry on and enjoy horror movies for what they are. I have been harsh to these guys in the past, but I think we could be having fun now. I think we could be having fun now. Whether I love it or hate it, I'm still going to talk about it. This was the most fun I have had with the Twisted Childhood universe so far. Bambi The Reckoning was so much fun, so silly, so stupid, bonkers, and I loved it. So I'm off. 3.5 out of 5. And remember, guys, if I don't see you in the cinema, I'll see you in the next review.